Okay, first of all, thank you for having us. June 4th, 1989, that's the first time for a lot of Chinese people openly challenged the Chinese Communist Party. In the spring of that year, millions of students, workers, and professors going on the street demanding for the political reform, asking for ending the corruption, and also ask for the freedom of expression. Every people standing peacefully on the street asking for freedom and democracy. But you have witnessed, and everybody witnessed, that the CCP ordered the PLA turn the guns and tanks towards the unarmed citizens. That reminds us how brutal those regime is to use the power to kill people to preserve their power. To Chinese people, up to today, June 4th, it's a very most prohibited topic. If you mention it on the social media or in your chat, on WeChat, you could be arrested, you could be put in prison, or even worse. That's a taboo in China. Why? Because the Chinese Communist Party want to erase this memory, this event. They don't want people to know the past. But for Chinese people, that's the courage for Chinese people. That's the fire of Chinese people asking for freedom and democracy. But of course, that massacre also shattered a generation's dream for peacefully reform. And after that, also, the Chinese Communist Party learned from that massacre, and they start more tightly controlled media and censorship and surveillance. They combined with economic reform and controlled the people more tightly. That's what means to the Chinese people. Every single Chinese people is under surveillance and censorship, and they don't have a freedom. They have no freedom of religion, and they have no freedom of speech. So for the Chinese people, that means a lot. Also, I would like to talk about what that means to the free world. First of all, that's the fork of the history. Because in 1989, Berlin Wall was falling, and the East European just breaking from the communists. But the June 4th massacre ensured the CCP's survival and make them the next superpower, which posed a lot of threat to the freedom war today. And also from that event, the CCP has learned their tricks. They know how to hide the truth, because when they hide the truth, they can use the brutal force. They can attack the freedom country. So they basically involved themselves to a much more sophisticated attack. That's what we are facing today, the unrestricted warfare. So for Chinese people, that day, it's very tragic. But for the free world, that day, it's a warning for the past and for the present. Because to be honest, what is playing out today in the US is exactly what happened to the Chinese students back 36 years ago. Back then, the students think they can trust the CCP. They are young, have no experience, full of hope, maybe a little bit naive. They trust the CCP to negotiate with them, but the CCP used their technique basically stalling the protest. But at the back, they are prepared for the cracking down and for the tanks and guns. When the time comes, they roll with the tank and kill the thousands of students, innocent, unarmed people. So what happens in this country now? Let's fast forward to 2019 and 2020, when first Trump term negotiated with CCP, hoping to get a deal. But actually, we did get a deal, and we even signed a deal with Liu He. But what happened? COVID-19 hit. And then Trump lost the election in 2020. So you see, that's exactly the same strategy and technique the CCP used to against and to attack the West country and the people who has the faith, good faith, trust CCP. But the CCP is so evil. If they can slaughter their own people to keep their power, you can imagine what they can do to the Western and American people.